Should we do it without a guitar?
Do it. We can. There are stars in the southern sky. Southward as you go. There is moonlight moss in the trees, down the seven bridges like some lonesome child, and I have loved you today, and I have loved you you should go. There is a taste of time, sweet and honey, down the seven bridges road.
Well, it's always fun to do music like that, huh? Music has always been an important part of my life. When music is in harmony, it brings peace. You can become your very best at anything you want to do when you're feeling peaceful. When you're living in harmony, you become your very best. Living a life in harmony is true health. And as the USANA family, we strive to be healthy. We all want to have the healthiest lives possible. Living in harmony helps us to that point. Putting our core character traits into action is what it means to live a life in harmony. Let me show you by a little brief demonstration here. See if we got this going here. So, when we talk about harmony, sound is just waves, right? And when we have sound, we create a wave. And when the waves are congruent, that makes harmony. But when the waves are not congruent, that makes what we call dissonance. So let me show you. I'm just going to strum a chord here. And the first chord is going to be a chord demonstrating dissonance. Ready? Here we go. See how that looks? See what it looks and see what the sound waves look like? Right? Now, let's look at a chord that's in harmony. See how that looks? See the difference? Isn't that incredible? That is harmony versus dissonance. And as we think about that, think about your lives. How many of your lives look like the chord that was played in dissonance versus your life looking like a harmonious life? A life in harmony means a consistent and honest arrangement of your values and a solid commitment to living those values day in and day out. So this whole alignment issue is, how can we become in alignment with who we really are and who we know what we should be? When I was young, I loved music. I would come home from school, the rest of the kids would come home from school and they would play and go play ball. I would go straight to my basement in my bedroom, turn the music on and start practicing. I wanted to be a rock star. I could see myself, kind of like last night, on stage in front of thousands of people playing music. But that wasn't my destiny. It wasn't my destiny to be a rock star. One thing that didn't change, however, in my life was what I call the Ben Franklin principle. Because when you're committed to living your core values, you change your destiny. Benjamin Franklin was one of America's founding fathers. At age 20, he made a personal commitment to try and always do right, and especially avoid wrongdoing. He committed to living on a solid foundation of principles. Principles that he refused to compromise. Now, as the Chief Executive Officer of USANA, I found this kind of solid foundation can be very helpful, if not essential. We all know in life and in business, sometimes seas are tranquil and calm. Another time, there are violent storms and mammoth waves. Whether you stay firm or anchored to your values and your foundation, or move off it, could be a defining moment in such storms. Let me share with you an example that we had at USANA that illustrates this. A few years ago, we discovered microbes in one of our products during the quality control process. We had a decision to make. We could process and kill the microbes and sell the product. We could sell the product with the microbes, or we could scrap the entire lot. This was a multi-million-dollar decision. As a company living in harmony, there really wasn't a decision. We scrapped the entire lot. At USANA, we try our best to live the Ben Franklin principle. We are committed to living our values, which will change our destiny and the destiny of USANA. Another principle I'd like to discuss is what I call the piano principle. Sacrifice for what's most important in your life. An interesting thing, my mom and dad, my parents, they bought a piano before they bought a car. Can you imagine that? A piano before a car? Music was a priority to my parents. My parents loved music, and it seemed like we were always singing and playing. What just happened? This picture came up. My dad, when he would come home from work, he would come in the back door right there, and he'd start dancing while our band was playing. My mom and dad didn't sit around wishing we had music in our home. They bought a piano before they bought a car. That has had a lifelong impact on me as their son. If you want something badly enough, you'll give up your time, your money, and your energy. You'll roll up your sleeves and you'll get to work. And you'll make the necessary sacrifices to make dreams come true. The piano principle. Sacrifice for what's most important. The third principle I would like to discuss with you is the leap of faith principle. Move forward even when you can't see what's ahead. And remember, count to 5, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't forget that. Wasn't Mel awesome? Yeah, wow. I want to put those practices into my own life. Martin Luther King said, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. When I think of this, I think of the scene from the movie of Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones was trying to save his father's life. His father had been shot, and he knew he had to get the Holy Grail to save his father. But when he got out to the edge of the cliff, he got out there, and he could see on the other side was the Grail to save his father. He didn't know what to do, but he remembered something. That it required faith, and it required that he took the first step. You see, all of life begins with taking the first step. And we have to have faith. Now, all of you have to take the first step to get here to convention. That is the leap of faith. You took the first step when you started and you sought a business. That is faith in action. Faith is not a sure knowledge. Faith is hope put into action. When Dr. Wentz started USANA, he had to exercise the leap of faith principle. And he had enjoyed global success as a scientist and as a researcher. He used his vision and knowledge and belief of the human cell, and he put it into action, creating products that he knew would truly make a difference for the health of mankind. Commander James Stockdale's jet was shot down over Vietnam. When asked how he was able to survive over 7 years of torture and brutality, his response was, I never lost faith in the end of the story. I never doubted that I would get out, but also that I would prevail in the end, and turned that experience into a defining event in my life. In retrospect, an event I would not trade. Collins concluded, you have to have faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties. Stockdale put into action the leap of faith principle. He continued to move forward, even when he couldn't see what was ahead. Now, the last principle I want to talk about this morning is very important to me. It's a principle I call the Dorothy principle. I call it the Dorothy principle because of 2 short stories. One that actually happened to me. I was in the classroom. The teacher was up here. I was starting in college. I think I was probably sitting about right back here. And I remember the teacher on my first day of class came into our college classroom and he said, I want you to watch what I'm going to write on the board. And he went up to the board and he wrote on the board, nothing is more important than relationships. Then, We went through the whole semester, and on the last day of classes, we were preparing for our final exam. I studied and studied and studied, and I wasn't sure what was going to be on the final exam, and I walked into the classroom. The professor addressed us as students prepared to take our final exam, and he said, it's a pass or fail test. It's one question. What did I write on the board the first day of class? More than 30 plus years later, I still remember what he wrote on the board that day. Nothing is more important than relationships. Another story about the classroom, the professor came in. He gave a test to the class. And the last question on this quiz was this: what is the name of the woman who cleans this building? All the kids looked at him and thought, is he crazy? Is this a joke?